Turning back to Minnesota. Minnesota Secretary of State Steve Simon joins me now. He's here because your office, sir, received a letter Saturday night, hours after the killing of Alex Pretti, from the Attorney General, seeking, among other things, federal access to voter rolls in Minnesota. Why, and what are you going to do about that letter?
Well, I'm not sure why. A lot of speculation there. It was pretty shocking, though. This came within hours of, let's not forget, the second U.S. citizen in as many weeks to be gunned down by federal agents in our city. And the letter, really, I've called it a ransom note because it really suggested that there was a trade in the offing here, that if Governor Walz, to whom the letter was sent, would do these three things, then maybe some of the chaos, her words, would be reduced. The third item on the list, on the wish list, on the demand list, was that we in Minnesota give the federal government, give the DOJ all of our voter rolls. And the answer is no. The answer was and is no. But interestingly, it's always been no. You know, this is not fresh and new. Starting this last summer, the Department of Justice asked 42 states, including Minnesota, to turn over that information. And by the way, this isn't just name and address. It's Social Security numbers, driver's license numbers, and the like. 32 of those states, including Minnesota, have pushed back and said no, based on federal law and state law. Those are court cases that are active right now. In fact, we've got a hearing coming up in a few weeks, and she surely knew that when she sent out the letter. We're in the middle of a court case battling over this. So the answer was and is no. We're going to battle it out in court, do whatever the court says, of course, but we think the law says that they are not entitled to this data. But to link it as they had, it's okay to ask, we have declined, but to link it, as she did in that letter hours after this killing, to some sort of cessation of hostilities or return to normalcy was pretty disturbing. Because
that's what it was implied or stated in the letter. If the state of Minnesota turned over voter rolls, public assistance data,
right,
and ended sanctuary city policies, then the Operation Metro Surge would be dramatically scaled back. That was the implication.
That's how I read it, and I think
that's why you called it a ransom note.
Yes.
Is there anything from your perspective, legally or politically, that justifies that kind of interaction with your state in the aftermath of what has gone on for weeks now in Minnesota?
No, I don't think so. And look, staying in my lane here as to that third request, what does that have to do with public safety? What does that have to do with immigration? What does that have to do with boots or force on the ground or ICE or Border Patrol tactics? Nothing. It seems sort of out of left field to add this, an ongoing request by the Justice Department stemming from an original June request, one that was made of many other states. One is the subject of active litigation. I'm just puzzled as to why that was added to the term sheet, so to speak.
Do you have any problems with your voter rolls in Minnesota?
Our voter rolls are very clean. Our elections in Minnesota are fundamentally fair, accurate, honest, and secure. We're proud of the routine, everyday list maintenance we do to make sure that those rolls are clean and fair and that the people on them are eligible to vote. And so we'll stand by that record any day of the week. And we have a high degree of confidence in our elections in Minnesota. One of the reasons we know that, among others, is that we vote at such sky-high levels. If I can brag here for a minute, Minnesota is almost, you know, the Olympics are coming up, so I'll use an Olympic analogy. We are almost always bronze, silver, or gold. We're almost always on that
medal stand. In terms of voter turnout,
right.
And you don't have a lot of post-election litigation about your voter rolls or things of that nature.
No, we haven't.
Which is one of the ways to determine whether your rolls are clean or not.
Right.
Because you'd be sued if they weren't.
Absolutely. Right. And the courthouse doors are always open before, during, and after.
Before I let you go, Mr. Secretary, what's it been like the last 6 weeks?
I would say it's been a grim and challenging time in Minnesota. This surge really is a siege, and it immediately veered off its original path. The idea that this was some sort of targeted surgical attempt to get the worst of the worst. Anyone with eyes, ears, and common sense in and around Minnesota could see that it wasn't that.
If it was, would you have supported it?
Yeah, I mean, sure. If it's a targeted list of the worst, people who were not in this country legally and had committed terrible crimes, yes, absolutely I would. But that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing something that's so far beyond that, with unnecessarily brutal and cruel tactics sweeping in its scope, dragnets in Target stores and Costco and schools and all sorts of places in the community, and sadly, violence and death.
Minnesota Secretary of State Steve Simon, thank you for coming in, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.